In one of the largest obesity asset deals of the year, Roche entered a development and co-commercialization agreement with Zealand Pharma for Petrelintide, a long-acting amylin analog initially developed by Roche for metabolic and obesity-related indications. The deal is worth up to $5.3 billion, including $1.65 billion in upfront payments, milestone-based development and commercial payouts, and a co-commercialization structure the US and EU. The transaction reflects Roche's strategic re-entry into the obesity space and Zealand's ability to re-engineer underutilized peptide assets into one of the most lucrative therapeutic verticals of the decade. Let's dive into this deal, but a quick reminder before we start. If you enjoy our content, please subscribe and stay updated. We would love to have you as part of our community. The story starts with compound origin. Petrelintide originated from Roche's internal peptide engineering programs, originally investigated for metabolic regulation, but they deprioritized it in favor of GLP-1 analogs. Zealand Pharma, known for its peptide optimization expertise, acquired rights to the compound and extended its half-life and delivery characteristics. But let's quickly look at the deal itself. The amylin analog class, while historically overshadowed by incretin therapies, has shown renewed promise as a synergistic adjunct to GLP-1/GLP-1/GIP therapies, especially for patients with inadequate response or tolerability issues. That makes perfect sense because it addresses a huge unmet need in the market and opens up new opportunities for treatment. Now let's get back to the deal, the partnership structure. Upfront payment, $1.65 billion. Total potential deal value, $5.3 billion. Milestone payments, developmental, regulatory, and commercial benchmarks, royalties. Tiered based on net sales and co-commercialization shared responsibility in the US and EU. Next, due diligence analysis. At Zealand Pharma, they focused on three key aspects. First, they conducted an extensive analysis of real-world evidence to identify patients who might not respond well to or can't tolerate current GLP-1 therapies, which could make Petrelintide a valuable adjunct option. Second, they benchmarked Petrelintide's pharmacokinetic profile and identified its potential as a once-weekly adjunct to GLP-1 therapies. And third, they analyzed early preclinical models demonstrating Petrelintide's durable appetite suppression and glycemic control, positioning development for a multi-pathway weight loss therapy that could address resistant obesity phenotypes. On the other hand, Roche's due diligence likely centered around three aspects as well. First, they probably benchmarked Petrelintide against existing GLP-1 incumbents like Novo Nordisk's Wegovy and Eli Lilly's Zepbound, evaluating its potential advantages and disadvantages as a combination therapy. Second, they assessed real-world dropout rates from GLP-1 monotherapy and modeled the impact of adding Petrelintide on efficacy and persistence. And finally, they evaluated formulation scalability, delivery innovation, and importantly, cost of goods for both companies. Zealand's due diligence was likely quite straightforward given the extensive work they've already done on their own. However, Roche's team had more work ahead of them to ensure the deal made sense strategically and financially. It's important to mention that while the upfront payment is substantial, it's only the beginning. The true value will be realized over time through successful development and commercialization. Both companies will need to execute well and navigate the challenges inherent in bringing a new product to market. So here's a quick SWOT analysis for your convenience. Strengths: unique non-incretin mode addressing patient dropout or resistance to GLP-1 South. Long-acting format enabling weekly dosing and improving adherence, and co-commercialization structure reducing launch risk and expanding footprint. Weaknesses: still pre-phase 2, clinical risk remains relatively high, requires significant differentiation versus existing therapies to justify premium pricing, and Zealand's limited sales infrastructure may require further partnerships. Opportunities: explosive growth in the global obesity and metabolic treatment market expected to exceed $100 billion by 2030. Opportunity to combine with GLP-1 or GIP. GLP-1 dual agonist as combo therapy and potential expansion into prediabetes, PCOS, and cardiometabolic indications. Threats: market dominated by entrenched players like Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly. Pipeline crowding with more than 30 metabolic peptides in development, and payers may resist premium pricing unless head-to-head data shows significant superiority. In conclusion, the Roche-Zealand Petrelintide partnership is a compelling example of what we've seen across biopharma. Smaller firms extracting value from legacy big pharma molecules by focusing on repositioning them towards market-ready indications with explosive growth. Obesity fits perfectly here with skyrocketing patient demand and growing payer willingness to reimburse based on real-world weight loss and cardiometabolic benefits. Zealand expanded the value proposition by leveraging its deep peptide optimization capabilities where Roche and others had failed. This deal is a win-win. Zealand gets a huge payday and Roche gains access to a promising asset without investing in early-stage risk. The co-commercialization structure also allows them to share the financial burden and expertise required to bring a new product to market. Only time will tell how this partnership plays out, but it's definitely worth keeping an eye on. If you found this analysis helpful, please hit the like button and share it with your friends. Subscribe if you haven't already and join our growing community. Until next time, stay healthy and keep learning.